Let's learn about PLSQL in this video. इस वीडियो में हम लोग इंट्रोडक्शन टू PLSQL कवर करेंगे, wherein we will have more focus on what is the need of PLSQL. So before moving for PLSQL, let us understand what are the different strengths of SQL. Okay, SQL comes up along with lot many functionalities. It provides an interface between database and the user so that user can run the query and get the desired output. It also provides the capabilities to the users like from the various categories. It can be application programmers, database administrators, managers and the end users. In fact, on top of that, so जो आप लोगों ने जो SQL queries लिखी है, are you able to find out data as per your needs? So suppose employee table में data store है, क्या आप maximum salary find out कर सकते हो? क्या आप ऐसा employee find out कर सकते हो जो lowest salary earn कर रहा है? Can you find out how many employees are there? Or can you find out output of multiple tables together? You can do lot many things, correct? So now the concern is that we know that SQL is so much popular. We even know that SQL is based upon the relational algebra theory. Okay. So the question comes in our mind is, if SQL is so much powerful, what is that specific for which you want to learn the PLSQL? Is it just because that it is there in your syllabus? Reason should not be this one, correct? So let us think about certain scenarios. So think about this scenario. Can we have a chain of SQL statement which can get executed parallelly, which can produce result by utilizing result of other queries? Yes, up to some extent with the subqueries that is possible. But again, that is a separate query. Correct? If I have wrote 10 different queries together, I cannot make any decisions. What you can do at the max is you can see the data which is selected. You can insert data, you can update data. But what doesn't happen is, suppose if I have selected data from the employee table, and based upon the output of that table, I want to insert some data. I want to make the decision. If there are more than 15 employees, I should not allow or I should not insert data into that. What if I want to make such a decisions, okay, based upon the results of previous queries? How can I make the smart decisions? Now, say for example, at any time, if I need to increment salary of an employee, okay, in such a cases, what if I want to make the decisions based upon outcome of some other queries? There is no way to capture the outputs, correct? Have you ever seen variables in SQL? We do not have variables, so how can you capture the results and how can you make the smart decisioning? Up to some extent, SQL statements support you for the some special clauses like where clauses or maybe having clauses wherein you can add conditions, but not all, correct? How can we automate any task using SQL? SQL query run कैसे करते हो आप? टाइप करते हो, एंटर करते हो, वो query वहीं के वहीं कंपाइल होता है, रन होता है, आपको आउटपुट मिल जाता है. How can we automate this? Is there any way? So my dear friends, answer is that that's why you need PLSQL. So what is PLSQL? PLSQL was developed by Oracle as an extension to SQL. Please keep in mind it is to complement SQL functionalities. SQL में जो भी limitations है ना, उसमें से निकल के उसे और enhance करने के लिए PLSQL बनाया गया. Okay, so that's why I said that it is used to complement the SQL. Now, it comes up along with the several features like other programming languages, like it supports for the block structure program, it supports for the flow control statements like if-else, case statement, it supports for the loops and all. It allow you to declare the variables. Think about how was a SQL without having variables. All of the statements were hard-coded. करेक्ट. आप जो भी स्टेटमेंट लिखते थे, अगर मैंने अपडेट सैलरी कर दिया किसी का, अपडेट एम्प्लॉय सेट सैलरी इक्वल टू 100 और मे बी सैलरी इक्वल टू 1000 वेयर एम्प्लॉय नेम इक्वल टू स्कॉट, 10 बार भी अगर ये स्टेटमेंट रन करोगे ना, 10 बार भी एम्प्लॉय की सैलरी 1000 में ही सेट होनी है. ओके, so yes, we were not having variables, so we were not having any opportunity to modify these values as well. Then it also supports for the structure data. Then It also allow you to handle the runtime errors as well, so you can have better control onto the errors. Now very soon we would be having discussion about all these features. Please remember PLSQL was introduced in Oracle 7. Okay. So what is the purpose of PLSQL? So purpose is to combine your database language as well as your procedural capabilities together. So आपका SQL भी आता है और इसके साथ programming features भी आते हैं. So PLSQL helps you to combine these things. It also offers you an unique combination because SQL आप PLSQL के साथ अगर use करते हो तो whatever flexibility you get, you never get that, you would not get that flexibility with the other programming environments. So it by combining these capabilities, it offers you unique combination of power and ease of use for the programmers and the users. It completely supports for your SQL DML operations. So आपके most commonly operations कौन से होते हैं database में? Insert, update, delete and at the max select. Correct? It completely supports for all these functions, all these SQL statements. You can write down SQL statements into the PLSQL block. You can even write down functions and procedures into the PLSQL which can be invoked from different applications. So your front-end applications can call these functions and procedures from the PLSQL. Now what are the advantages of PLSQL? So there are a lot many advantages. Let us discuss the major ones. Now you can see the very first is tight integration with SQL. Now what do you mean by tight integration? So when I refer to this particular feature, have you ever used functions in SQL? आप लोगों ने upper use किया होगा, lower use किया होगा, sysdid use किया होगा, correct? There are a lot many functions are there. What do you think? Function किस में लिखा है? SQL में? Have you ever seen any statement which allow you to write down SQL function? We haven't. So ये function लिखा जाता है PLSQL में, okay? और आपने PLSQL में जो function लिखा उसे आपने SQL statement में कॉल किया. आप लिखते हो ना select upper of ename from emp. कहाँ पे कॉल किया? SQL statement में, correct? So within SQL block you can write down PLSQL statement as well as in PLSQL block you can write down SQL statement. So that's why we say that it has got tight integration with SQL. There are lot many other reasons as well. Say for example, being both of the programming languages are going to get executed onto the same platform. So it has got better understanding towards the database structures, how the data is stored and all. So ultimately for the performance as well, it will help you out. It supports for the PLSQL supports for the static as well as dynamic SQL. So runtime पे भी अगर आपको decide करना हो कि which SQL statement you want to run, that is also possible. It definitely improves the productivity. It supports for the web application development. It is completely portable. You just have to create the function procedure. I mean, you just have to get a backup of the database and you can restore it. Then it supports for the object oriented programming features as well. It provides a tight security because Oracle itself is coming up along with a lot much proper user and role kind of architecture. So it also supports for those tight securities. Another advantage what happens is when you give access to the users to the directly to your base tables, okay, like employee tables and all, users can modify the data. How are you going to restrict that? Instead, what I would do is I would write down a PLSQL function or procedure which would accept the arguments from the user and which will perform the necessary DML operation. So you're not giving direct access to the table. You are giving indirect access. That can be done. So your data is again safe. And it also allow you to access predefined packages as well so that you can have a better function controls. Important होता है to understand PLSQL architecture. Okay, so जैसे आपको पता है डेटाबेस में ऑलरेडी कैपेबिलिटीज है एसक्यूएल स्टेटमेंट रन करने की. सो वी हैव वन engine called as SQL statement executor. We also call it as SQL engine as well. Okay. जब भी Oracle ने PLSQL ऐड किया ना तो Oracle ने क्या किया, इसी आर्किटेक्चर में इसी डेटाबेस में एक और इंजन ऐड कर दिया which is referred as PLSQL engine which comes up along with the PLSQL statement executor program. अभी ये कैसे काम करता है? ये क्या करता है, जब भी आप PLSQL ब्लॉक को रन करने की कोशिश करते हो, this PLSQL block will be passed on to the PLSQL engine. Now PLSQL engine will read through this particular block and it will transfer only procedural capabilities to the procedural statement executor. So जैसे आपका if else लिखा हुआ है या फिर कोई पैकेज को कॉल किया, फंक्शन को कॉल किया, वो सारे स्टेटमेंट्स यहाँ पे रन हो जाएंगे. But the moment it comes to the SQL statement, so definitely your PLSQL block may contain SQL statement. So the moment when it encounters an SQL statement, it passes on that particular statement to the SQL engine so that it can execute that SQL statement with the SQL statement executor and return the result to your PLSQL block again. So what is the job of PLSQL engine here? Job of PLSQL engine is to compile and execute PLSQL block as well as any subprogram if those are added. Now PLSQL engine can also be installed onto the client machines or it may also be installed onto the Oracle server. But again, it depends upon the need of your business. If PLSQL engine is installed onto the client machine, what happens is compilation of your PLSQL block, execution of your procedural statement will be taken place at the client location itself. So उतना server का load कम हो जाता है. However, whenever this PLSQL engine needs to execute an SQL statement, it needs to connect to the database server over the network. Okay, so major functionality होती है PLSQL engine की to split the SQL statements as well as the procedural statement and execute the procedural statement, pass on those SQL statements to the SQL engine, get the result back and then proceed with the further execution. SQL engine का काम क्या होता है यहाँ पे? SQL engine just do a job of execution of those SQL statement and returning results to the PLSQL engine.